Well, more airstrikes on the Gaza Strip as Israel says it's preparing for unrelenting attacks to dismantle Hamas. The Israeli military releasing footage of the airstrikes, noting it hit dozens of Hamas gunmen preparing to fire rockets, as well as buildings and Hamas staging grounds. The Palestinian Health Ministry says the death toll in Gaza has now topped 5,000. Meantime, more than 1,400 people have been killed in Israel since the war began, mainly civilians killed in the initial terrorist attack. Hamas has been declared a terrorist organization by Canada and many Western countries.
Israel's Iron Dome rocket defense system is being heavily tested as the violence continues. Hamas has fired 7,000 rockets toward Israel in just 2 weeks. That's more than any of the previous 4 wars fought since Hamas seized power in Gaza in 2007. Hezbollah militants in Lebanon have also fired hundreds of rockets along Israel's northern front. The Iron Dome was activated in 2011.
CTV National News correspondent Heather Wright is live this morning in Tel Aviv. Heather, what's the reaction now like to the fact that 2 more hostages have been freed?
Well, we've been speaking to other family members who have loved ones who are still being held hostage. And, you know, they say they're so happy and overjoyed for the families who are getting their loved ones home. But it still reminds them that their loved ones are still in Gaza being held hostage by Hamas. I asked a father whose wife and 3 children are in Gaza right now, you know, how he feels when he sees these hostages being released. Does it give him hope? And he said, yes, it does. But at the same time, he's still racked with, you know, anxiety and worry about where his family is, how are they being treated, where are they being kept, are they even alive? And so while it certainly is hopeful, it also, you know, it doesn't change the fact for so many that it has been more than 2 weeks since their loved ones were taken and they don't know where they are.
And Heather, we know that aid has been trickling into Gaza by the trucks, but this doesn't include fuel, which is really essential for a lot of the life-saving medical equipment to help people in these hospitals. But is that offering any kind of hope to people right now?
Well, I mean, it's a drop in the ocean, really, when you think about what has arrived in Gaza and what usually flows into the enclave. Before the war began, the UN, the World Food Program, rather, says about 400 trucks of aid were arriving every day. We're seeing, you know, a couple dozen maybe over the last few days, so it certainly is a start. It was a lot of work to even get those aid trucks in, but much more is needed, is what we're hearing from groups on the ground. And, you know, they need more food, they need more water, they, of course, need more medical supplies. But another big thing, as you mentioned, Jen, is that they do need fuel. There are big concerns, though, from Israel that fuel is going to go to Hamas to use for their trucks, to use for their weaponry. And so that is sort of a non-negotiable at this point from Israel's perspective. But on the flip side, fuel is used to power generators, and generators are used to keep the lights on at hospitals, but not just the lights. I mean, these are life-saving equipments that are running. One doctor yesterday says he had about 55 babies who are hooked up to ventilators and other life-saving equipment, and he worries that if the lights go off, if the power goes off at his hospital, those babies will die in a matter of minutes. And so that's where things stand in terms of fuel. Israel is also saying, you know, Hamas has reserves of fuel within Gaza, and they're pressing on them to release that reserve, whatever it is that they still have, to the population as well. But it's not really clear if that's a realistic proposition at this point.
CTV National News correspondent Heather Wright live for us in Tel Aviv. Thank you.